Hi everybody, it's at Fireside Friday again. So the first question I have was sent to me by a parent actually, and it's actually 3 questions in one, so if you bear with me. It says it's a 3-part question about the impact of our origins and backgrounds on who we are. And the parent said, could you tell us more about your background and bio? And how did you get started in education and so on? So I'll answer the first one first. Could you tell us more about your background and bio? So I was born in Edinburgh in Scotland a long time ago, probably 68 years ago if I'm really honest on camera. And I, born and brought up there, came to Canada when I was 33, by which time I was married with 2 lovely children. And then, of course, we had to add a 3rd lovely child to that mix, a genuine Canadian as opposed to, you know, an adopted Canadian as such. I was from a very humble background, actually. Both my parents left school when they were 14, and my dad had 8 brothers. Nobody in the family had ever been to university. Nobody in the extended family had ever been to university, and so I was a trailblazer back in those days. And I was obviously my parents gave me an awful lot, very simple approach, but they instilled a belief and a confidence in me from a very early age, and they convinced me that I had a gift. That I could do school, I was bright and so on, and I had to use that gift. So that's a little bit of my background. The second question says, how did you get started in education? Well, in many ways, I stumbled into education late. I left university, I worked for a year, earning tons of money on the pipelines. But I still didn't really know what I wanted to do as a career. And I'd been doing a bit of coaching for quite a few years, and one of my sort of mentor, inspirational figures in my life said to me, look, you're just a natural at this business of working with young people. I can see it in the way you coach. You've got to try teaching. So based on that, I thought, yeah, sure, I enjoy that. I enjoy being around young people, and so I gave it a go, and of course, I got hooked very early, and the rest is history. And the third part of that question was your journey from Scottish lad to seasoned headmaster a well-planned and deliberate one, or more serendipitous? I would say the latter, more serendipitous. I didn't really have a set goal that I wanted to be ahead, and I was desperate to be ahead. I liked leadership whenever, from sport, playing on teams. I found myself invariably ending up as the captain virtually every team I played in. And I don't know why, maybe it's just something in my personality that my wife would say probably too domineering or something, but I think that I just naturally gravitated towards taking responsibility, and I think that's a key aspect of leadership. And so that just happened as my educational career developed. I was willing to step up and take more responsibility, and in fact I wanted it. And then there came a point where I got a taste of being in a position where you could make decisions that would almost immediately have an impact on the direction a school was going. And once you get a taste of that, you like that, and because it becomes very fulfilling, you can get things done. And so that's what happened. But it wasn't an exceedingly intricately planned business. Okay, so question 2. Even in normal times, this can be a tough time of year. Do you have any advice for getting through it well? Well, sheesh, I don't think I've got any earth-shattering advice. I think it's one day at a time, and I touched on this last week. It's about resetting and becoming philosophical as soon as you feel yourself drifting into that getting a little bit down and so on. And I love the whole notion of light, right? Because light is so fundamental to our functioning well as human beings. And then there's the whole metaphorical value of light. So I would say, think of the light. Think about bringing light into other people's lives, whether it's your family or your friends or school or whatever. And that helps me on those dark days and those dark mornings to think, come on, people are looking for people who can be the light. As that wonderful young poet laureate said, and she said it so well that I memorized her last 3 lines. She said, at the end of her inauguration poem, she said, and yet there is always light if we are brave enough to see it, if we are brave enough to be it. And I just love that, and it sums it up for me. The other thing I say in terms of advice, have lots of conversations. This is a time of year for listening to people and talking to people, more than ever. So, and the third question today is, do you have a little anecdote from this week? And I think the one that springs to mind is we were having a meeting about summer camps just yesterday, and Andrew Monroe did me a great favour by just making sure that my feet were firmly planted on the ground, but by saying to me, as I said enthusiastically, we were talking about the youngsters, possibly having youngsters, and about them maybe even being there for the whole day. And I said, well, it might be quite tiring for them, but we could incorporate nap time, and I'd be happy to supervise it. And quick as a flash, he said, well, you just have to give them one of your speeches, DBR, and that'll take care of the whole thing. So there you are, feet firmly on the ground. I wish you all a really good weekend. Thanks, everybody.